Alright, seriously, at this point from a non-light novel reader's perspective, they really want me to go and read the light novels. I mean, come on, Kino just does this amazing plant right before she leaves.
初代大統領の元ラドがあるでしょ。
This little kid has to be an important character, right? This old man Motorrad is going to play some purpose, right? Which actually might be really cool to see this little kid take the bike and start his own adventure. Maybe he meets Shizu or something along the way, and then he follows Shizu around and trains under him, just like a certain... Well, I can't quite continue for heavy spoiler reasons that I don't need to get into. But yeah, this episode was a classic Kino split, doing 2 different countries. I really enjoyed the second half more than the first half just because of the scope of the story and what was happening. But that isn't to say that the first half featuring Old Man Motorrad wasn't important, and in retrospect, just looking at these 2 arcs really does make the first half seem really out of place. Or does it? Since this week's episode was a 2-parter, let's divvy it up and see what we can find by looking at each part. The main construct of this first arc is the mysterious traveler's home who, unlike Kino, came to settle and overthrow a tyrant. This is where we see a lot of his gear being aggrandized using these harrowing tales of heroics. This creates this weird atmosphere of lies that bleeds into the second part, but another way to look at it isn't just her lying, but maybe she's just really misinformed. I mean, it's not like she's a traveler and knows any better, nor can anyone really detest her stories. And maybe this traveler wasn't this great hero, but just some ordinary guy. He never asked for his fame, but he has it now nonetheless. But what's interesting to me isn't this theme of how information can be bloated and shown out of proportion, and that history is written by the victors. What's interesting to me is how this builds character for Kino and Hermes. And that's not to say that Kino and Hermes haven't been progressing through this show. Kino definitely has, but Hermes has always been a foil, used mainly for transportation. But here I find they both share this moment that's really pivotal for who they are as traveler and companion. If either of them were to disappear, the other would be left distraught. For example, maybe Kino disappears in a country through her heroics. Hermes would be left without a rider, empty and without purpose. Whatever story is told by Kino would be something that is out of control. Likewise, Kino can't do much without her vehicle. She'd be rendered inefficient as a traveler. These 2 come together as a pair, one does not go without the other, and they have this bond that we only ever see formed from her backstory. But here I feel as if the bond is strengthened as they see this distraught old Motorrad grieving away his days without a rider. People in general are social beings, which is a cliche, but it's something that this week's episode addresses multiple times. Hermes may not be a human, but without company he'd lose his meaning. As people, human or Motorrad, we all need someone there for us. I think we gravitate towards having others and enjoying the company of others around us. It's who we are, and I think it's built into us as human beings. It's how we survive, through helping each other get through our days. And once the ones we love leave us, we're left devastated, and at times, paralyzed, just like the old man Motorrad. And that's why I think this moment really cements their relationship for me. It's this cathartic tacit that makes them want to hold each other dear, lest either of them leaves. And let's not forget Shizu and his new companion now. It seems out of place, but it's a tiny story arc that really speaks volumes about practically everyone, including Kino, in her world. We're all people, we all want the company of people, and we all want to cherish those near us. Perhaps that's why so many countries with messed up morals can exist, simply because there are others around to experience things with them. The second half of this week's episode was where the meat of it was for me. If in the first half we saw the unintentional lie, then in this half we have the intentional lie, very reminiscent of Princess Principal's Angie. Maybe that's why I liked it so much, because I really think Princess Principal was a gem of a show, and that everyone should watch it, but that aside, this was a really twisted arc. Let's begin by remembering this show's tagline. The world is not beautiful, therefore it is. This arc was beautiful in that it was so twisted. Everyone ends up being enthralled in this chain of lies that all beckoned from the man who everyone thought was crazy, ironically enough. And these lies are what holds them together more than anything. That's such a strange thing to say, and yet it's quite true in most cases. Lies are told to manipulate what you actually mean. You lie to embellish truth. Maybe you don't want someone to know what you're doing. so you lie and tell them something else. Maybe you lie to say you're busy when you're really not. These are little white lies that don't really hurt anyone. But what if you lie and say you're not in debt, and that someone shouldn't be worrying about your financial situation? Maybe you lie to say you're okay when the entire world is falling apart around you, only to save them the trouble of worrying about you. Within these lies are a norm and an agency that you can only have by creating these false narratives. No matter the outcome, we like to lie because it's what makes us the drivers in the car of life. These are lies that hold meaning and weight, and in this week's episode we have a plethora of weighty lies.
私を一人の田舎娘として愛してくれたあの人をいつしか愛するようになりました。
They lie to hold their position, to be with who they love without opposition. They lie to uphold the entire status quo that has been created. They lie knowing it might hurt them, but they lie because they want to, because it holds them together. These characters lie with meaning, and they lie to uphold the narratives they have to live the life they want. Often we associate lies with negativity. Saying that someone is lying just bleeds this negative connotation that they're doing something bad. You know, you lie to say you didn't kill or steal something, but lies are beautiful in that they're so twisted. It's twisted to misinform someone, to tell something that isn't the truth. They'll believe you thinking you're trustworthy, and that's just immoral. But maybe that lie was made to save them, to save yourself, and for that your lie becomes beautiful. Despite how twisted the lie and how ugly your morals become, the end result churns into this strange beauty that you hold within yourself. And beyond the lies that are made is this need to feel connected. Again, coming back from the first half, we lied to a friend, a stranger, or even a significant other. But other than holding that meaning and carrying the weight, that lie also connects us to them. That lie gives you a bond that the other party doesn't yet understand, but it bonds the two together nonetheless. It's a twisted bond from a one-sided secret, but it increases the bonds we have. You may even remember more clearly the people you've lied to than those you haven't. After all, how else are you going to retain your lie? And maybe we even use our lies to stay connected, to make someone want to be with you and be in your loop. It becomes a desperate move to want human connection, but it's there to appease that human need of being in control. But again, it doesn't have to be negative. These lies don't have to harm others despite being deceitful. In fact, like we see, those lies may even be a source of happiness, and it may not even be desperation. It might just be a natural instinct to lie and form these narratives for ourselves. Kino and Hermes begins their roundabout with a lie as well, except, backstory stuff. But as they gradually travel together, their bond is strengthened not by lies, but by truly understanding one another and churning that lie to be a truth. She is Kino, he is Hermes. Those two facts will bond them together and make their journey worth traveling. So even if a twisted lie is what starts a relationship, give enough time and that lie may flourish into a truth that neither party would be able to discern a lie from. Maybe that lie will become buried, or maybe that lie will be exposed to an outside party. But either way, the genuine stirs from this fake, from this lie, and that lie becomes even more than the genuine. If you like this episode, maybe stick around and check out the other analyze that I'll be posting up soon as Girl's Last Tour is on the chopping board. Yeah, I'm finally gonna cover other anime. But anyways, I'm Brian, signing out.